It was never my favorite activity. It was the exact same thing over and over again. The story never changed, the roles never changed, and I always ended up kneeling for far longer than I ever expected to. Eventually, the idea of going to stations became more of a chore than one of reflection, understanding, and prayer. This belief of mine changed a little when I started participating in soup-in stations with my mom. We would gather together and eat soup, and then do the stations. At first, the draw of food was what got me there. Then it was food and talking with others, and then it was the stations. Because the stations weren't like any that I had heard before. They were written from different perspectives. One was written from Mary's point of view, another a complete stranger, and one from each person on whom that station was focused on. This held my attention much better, because I had never thought about what others would have been going through or feeling. I had only ever focused on the main story. But that's not what life is. You see, we all have our own different points of view and our own feelings when it comes to a situation. This is why when I was offered the chance to write stations of my own, I was very excited, but I was also worried because I was only 13 years old at the time. What did I know that no one else did? However, I soon realized that I was able to open up a whole new way of understanding because I was younger. I was experiencing this new world that many adults don't understand. By being able to connect my experiences to the stations, more adults were able to understand what young people experience, think, and feel in everyday life. The stations you are about to hear are written from multiple perspectives. First, linking what happened in Jerusalem that day to what occurs in modern day for teens. Second, the age difference from a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old who co-wrote them with me. And finally, the perspective from a female and a male writer through our different gender lenses and how we view those events. We all know the story of the stations, but what I ask you to focus on is your perspective of the stations. Know not only the people who are experiencing it, but also where are you coming from in your own life now? Where do you fit within each station? Who are you within each station? I would now like to hand it over to our two readers for the Stations of the Cross as experienced by two teens in Jerusalem and in St. Louis.
The first station, Jesus is condemned to death.
We are in Jerusalem. I came here with my family to celebrate the Passover. Now I hear that the Nazarene has been arrested. Pilate is condemning this man to death. This doesn't make any sense to me. Jesus is a gentle preacher, not a criminal. I'm too afraid to approach Pilate, but I wish I could ask him, why are you condemning this harmless man to death?
We are in St. Louis. In crimes, sometimes innocent people are accused of something they didn't do. Other people don't believe them because of their past. History and false evidence is built against them. I know I have been accused of something I didn't do, and it made me feel betrayed. Why couldn't I be believed? I wonder how Jesus felt.
Dear Jesus, please lead me along the path of my life. I want to do your will. The second station, Jesus takes up his cross.
We are in Jerusalem. I see some soldiers forcing this nice man and pushing him around. I have probably seen this man before, but I didn't know his name until today. I hear people referring to him as Jesus. They are forcing him to carry some very heavy wooden beams. I want to ask the soldiers, why are you treating this man so badly and making him carry this heavy load?
We are in St. Louis. I think of so many times that bullies have ganged up on someone who is an easy target for ridicule. Do bullies really have to belittle someone else in order to feel important?
Dear Jesus,
Please leave me alone the rest of my life. I want to do your will.
the third station, Jesus falls the first time.
We are in Jerusalem. I decide to follow Jesus to Nazareth. At one point, he falls down. I notice a sharp rock on the ground, and perhaps that is the culprit. As Jesus is hurt on the ground, the heavy cross is on top of him. The guards yank him up and push him onward. I have no clue why the guards are being so rough. I notice an elder who is turning his head to the side. I want to ask that elder, why is everyone refusing to help this poor innocent man? What crime has he done?
We are in St. Louis. In my school, with crowds of people, it is easy to trip over something and fall down. People just laugh and don't offer a hand to help. I want to help, but sometimes it is hard to go against the group. It must be so embarrassing to be lying helplessly on the ground.
Dear Jesus,
Please leave me alone the rest of my life. I want to do your will.
the fourth station, Jesus meets his mother.
We are in Jerusalem. I am standing near Mary. Her son Jesus has stepped off the path to talk to her, and I can hear their conversation. Jesus is telling her to be brave. I don't think I'm strong enough to be brave. I think he is being amazingly brave. He seems to know that God will take care of him. Why is the crowd letting this happen to him? All his life, he has taken care of the poor, the sick, the lonely, and the sad people. He doesn't deserve this.
We are in St. Louis. When a mother sees her child suffering for any reason, she will try to make it feel better. Sometimes she is successful, sometimes she's not. At the times she cannot make it all better, she feels helpless. So helpless. in Jerusalem. It appears Jesus cannot carry his cross anymore. No surprise. The authorities aren't condescending to help Jesus. In fact, they wave their document, which reads, "We have the law." So the soldiers have the power to force Simon into service. Simon is a foreigner from faraway Libya. Do you think the soldiers even wonder where Cyrene is located? Why don't the soldiers help Jesus themselves? I mean, they're all strong, and they are used to carrying heavy equipment. I asked Simon, "In Cyrene, have you ever heard of Jesus?"
We are in St. Louis. I know when I have a situation that is too big or overwhelming, it can weigh me down, and I feel like I can't move. I don't know what to do or where to start. It helps to have someone else in with fresh eyes and energy and strength to help me with my task.
Dear Jesus, the sixth station, Veronica wipes the face of Jesus.
We are in Jerusalem. My best friend, Veronica, was on her way home from the market. But now, this sad procession is blocking her way. She wants to see what is happening, so I take her hand and we move closer. We recognize Jesus from the city, and we have heard all about all the wonderful things he has done. I can see how miserable he is. I wish I could do anything to help him. The only idea we can think of is to offer his cloth to wipe his sweat. This cloth seems like a ridiculously small gesture, but perhaps it will make a difference. I am just one person doing one little thing. Am I really making a difference?
We are in St. Louis. A small gesture can have great intentions, but sometimes it can backfire because someone might abuse that gift. For example, a priest from Central America visited my school. He explained that some Americans had volunteered to install electricity in a small town. This should have been a good thing, but it caused problems. Having light at night meant that men didn't come home to their families. Developing an addiction to TV also disrupted the family unit. So a gift might be good, but people might abuse it. However, you shouldn't second guess what someone might do with your gift. Second guessing didn't stop Veronica. It shouldn't stop us either. We are in Jerusalem. As I follow this procession, Jesus is exhausted, understandably so. The forced march has been long and rugged, plus the cross looks very heavy. Maybe they should just stop here. If the soldiers are going to execute Jesus anyway, why not just do it here and get it over with? Do they really need to shove Jesus onward, up the mountain to Skull Place?
We are in St. Louis. I remember one time on a hike during summer camp. We had run out of water and it was so hot. I just didn't want to go on. I was so exhausted. My friend and I knew we had to set the example for the others who were also tired, and we had to keep going. We knew we had to get to our campsite and just push through the heat. The sweat and the thirst, we had to think of others first.
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of life. I want to do your will.
the eighth station, Jesus meets the women of Jerusalem.
We are in Jerusalem. Some of my friends are walking toward us, along with their mothers. I see that my own mother is coming with them too. They had seen this big line of people. Our moms want to see what is going on. I wave them to come closer, and I tell them, something terrible is happening. As we get closer, our moms begin to cry. And Jesus notices us and stays to us. Says to us, do not cry for me, but cry for yourselves and for your children. That makes no sense to me. What is this man talking about?
We are in St. Louis. Sometimes questions come out of the blue, totally contradictory with the content. When someone says something that makes no sense to us, perhaps we should pause and talk more deeply with that person. What they say might actually be profound.
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of life. I want to do your will.
the next station, Jesus falls the third time.
We are in Jerusalem. We are almost at Golgotha. But Jesus falls once again. I can clearly see a sign which translates, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. I can interpret the sign in two ways. Is the sign meant to say that Jesus is a traitor, so he must be punished as a traitor? Or is this sign intended to be biting sarcasm? I want to ask the Romans, Must you mock this man as you kill him?
Here in St. Louis, when someone is mocked, teased, or bullied, it is so easy to pile on more. They become a big target. The bully just wants to feel better by picking on someone else. They say that a bully is being picked on somewhere else by another bully, but I am not sure if that is true. What do you think?
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of my life. I want to do your will.
the 10th station, Jesus is stripped of his clothes.
Here in Jerusalem, none of this looks normal to me. The soldiers are stripping this man. He doesn't look like a criminal. He does not look scared. He looks like he wants to get this over with. Is it really necessary to strip this man? Can you let him have a little bit of dignity left?
We are in St. Louis. Sometimes, when someone is down, instead of helping them, we decide to mock them or think, I'm glad I'm not in that position. Why is it so easy for us to lose respect for each other?
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of my life. I want to do your will.
the 11th station, Jesus is nailed to the cross.
We are in Jerusalem. Apparently, someone decided that tying Jesus to the cross isn't cruel enough. They have to drive spikes through his arms. I don't want to imagine what Jesus is feeling. Are these soldiers thinking at all about the horror that they are inflicting? Perhaps they think it could never happen to them. However, Jesus is innocent, yet he is being executed. So what's to protect the soldiers from being the next to be crucified by Pilate? Does the law mean anything? Does the law mean nothing anymore?
We are in St. Louis. I cannot imagine inflicting pain on someone else on purpose. I hate bumping into someone by accident or hurting someone unintentionally. How can someone hurt someone else on purpose? Even when I think a person might deserve to be hurt because of their own behavior, that still does not make it right.
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of life. I want to do your will.
the 12th station, Jesus dies on the cross.
We are in Jerusalem. I am standing right next to him. He has suffered so much. He is slowly drifting away. He hasn't seemed to put up a fight. He just accepts all of this horror. If I were in this position, could I do the same? Could I just accept that this has happened to me?
We are in St. Louis. Giving up your life must be the ultimate sacrifice. I know that as Christians, we are supposed to put other people's needs before our own. But to give up your life for someone else, it gives me pause.
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of life. I want to do your will.
the 13th station, Jesus is taken down from the cross.
We are in Jerusalem. I should be going home. It's getting dark, and night will fall soon. Yet, I feel compelled to see this man's fate through to the end. His friends and family are taking his body down. They must have been very brave to ask the magistrate for permission to take down his body. I'm amazed that the magistrate granted permission because the Romans would have left Jesus up there as a terrifying example. Now I see Jesus in the arms of his mother, who is stroking his face. She's brokenhearted. I wish I could tell her, Mary, I'm sorry you are going through this. Is there anything I should have done to stop this?
Here in St. Louis, asking permission from a person in authority is hard. It's even harder when grief is involved. Even adults can be afraid to ask permission. What if the thing you ask for could get you punished, even when it's the right thing to do? The other person in authority could say no, or something worse. It takes courage to ask for what you need.
Dear Jesus,
Please lead me along the path of life. I want to do your will.
the 14th station, Joseph and the men lay Jesus in the tomb.
Here in Jerusalem, I am watching this from a distance. A man they refer to as Joseph is helping. Mary is visibly shaken and is mourning the death of her son. The disciples are trying to stay strong themselves. I see the nail marks on Jesus' hand and his feet. What is going to happen next? I have heard that this man was associated with some miracles. Now that Jesus is dead, can there ever be any more miracles again?
We're in St. Louis. How do we handle persecution? Look at any person who has been executed. They often contribute more to their cause after they die than before. Jesus' death was not the end of his story. It was the beginning of our story.
Dear Jesus,
Your life is not over, neither is mine. Please help me discern your plan for my life. I want to do your will. Amen.
I'd like to thank you all for being here. I also very much like to thank Henry and Gavin and Monica for contributing to making this happen. Father Chuck heard just this evening, and I'm guessing along. For those of you who can't make it to Mass this weekend, either because of your condition or that you might be afraid of someone else's condition, dispensations are being given. We're going to have Mass at the regular time, but if you can't be here for any reason, know that a dispensation is being granted to those who can't make it. There are some places that have actually suspended Mass this weekend. We are not one of those. We're going to have Mass for those who can make it. So once again, thank you very much for being here. Since this is the first time we've done this, if at any time over the next week or so, anybody would like to give me a little feedback on what they thought, we'd love to hear it. Have a blessed evening and a great rest of Lent. Take care. Take care. Thank you. Okay, great. Special case. A lot of good ones out there. Thank you. Thank you.
He's got 3 people up there, usually him and 2 others. So if we got something that's 5 minutes, that would be awesome. Would you?
I texted her because I didn't forget that I know.
Okay, so I'll find somebody that's here. Okay, you can do it too. Okay. Okay, cool. Birthday cake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't really know. I just want so very much. Every day. That was amazing. And your brother told me that along with 13. Actually,
Now, I had a birthday a couple days ago. It's today. It's today? It's today? I thought it was like 2 days ago.
His birthday 3 days ago. Thank you.
Well, you share the same birthday as my mother. You share the same birthday as my mother.
25th anniversary is the 24th.
And Anna.
Super well done, young man. It's your birthday.
She can't forget that one. Neither can I.
Well, for the full miles, it's hard for me to remember because it's got their anniversary, so 24th, his birthday was the 26th. I was born with
Which one was which?
Yes. You're in trouble. Yeah.
I know, it's fine.
Oh.
You know those things like getting an island?
Yeah, we're gonna line. The leader has to go first.
That's gonna come up next. The governor's gonna
You better start walking, birthday boy.
No, not March.
Not marching.
Actually, it's supposed to be a concert tonight, but
Just run that over.
Yeah, I thought it was called. I saw you guys playing right now. I knew it was around now. Yeah. Yeah, I was.
If it's 60 plus degrees, we're walking the dog in the afternoon. We go up to the church, around the parking lot, and back home.
Yeah, I can tell you this.
Yeah, well, it's Sunday, about a little bit. It's cool. Next time,
Nobody, unfortunately. Or, yeah, I guess unfortunately.
Have you ever done it?
We did at my parents' Soulard, I think after like a year.
Do you need some assistance?